everyone watched the Avengers Doomsday trailer expecting the same thing. A villain, a conqueror, someone who shows up, flexes God-level power, and gives Earth's mightiest heroes a reason to assemble. And on the surface, that's exactly what they got. Dr. Doom stops Stormbreaker with 2 fingers. 2 fingers. The same axe that buried itself in Thanos' chest when Thanos had all 6 Infinity Stones protecting. Doom just holds it there, effortless, cold. So yeah, he's terrifying. But I've watched that trailer more times than I probably should have. And after a while, I stopped looking at what Doom does and started listening to what he says. Because here's the thing nobody is really talking about yet. Dr. Doom doesn't open this trailer like a conqueror. He opens it like someone who already knows how this ends. And once you hear it that way, once you really hear it, the entire trailer transforms. This isn't just a villain origin story. Marvel may be doing something far more dangerous than introducing another Thanos. They may be making you understand him. Section 1. The line that changes everything. Let's go back to the very beginning of the trailer. The very first words you hear. Not Thor, not a battle cry, not the Avengers theme swelling over a montage. It's a voice.
Something's coming. Something we may not be able to deter.
That's Dr. Doom. That's Robert Downey Jr. in an accent that sounds nothing like Tony Stark, which we'll come back to, delivering what sounds less like a threat and more like a warning. Think about that for a second. A villain warning people about his own arrival, or not his arrival, something beyond his arrival. Something we may not be able to deter. We, not they, we. Is Doom including himself in that? Now, I'm not stating this as fact. Marvel hasn't handed us a translation guide for this line, but one possible interpretation here, and I think it's the most interesting one, is that Doom isn't positioning himself as the threat. He's positioning himself as someone who already knows what the threat is, which, if you've ever read Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars comics, should immediately make the back of your neck tingle. Section 2. What the comics actually tell us. Here's where we have to spend a moment in the comics, because the version of Dr. Doom most MCU fans know, the villain, the conqueror, the man in the iron mask, is only half the story. In Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars from 2015, the Marvel multiverse is dying. Universes are colliding with each other in events called incursions, realities literally crashing together and annihilating each other. The Avengers try to stop it. The Illuminati try to stop it. They all fail. And in that moment of total cosmic collapse, it's Dr. Doom who steps in. Doom, working alongside Doctor Strange and a being called the Molecule Man, steals the power of godlike entities called the Beyonders. Creatures so powerful, they'd been quietly destroying every universe in the multiverse, and uses that stolen power to build something from the wreckage. Battleworld, a patchwork planet stitched together from the remnants of destroyed realities. The entire multiverse was gone, and Doom built a world from the pieces. Now here's the part that never makes the highlight reels. He did it because it was the only option left. There's a moment in the comics where Doom confesses, genuinely confesses, that he feels like the only flaw in Battleworld, that despite being the most powerful being in existence, despite literally playing God, he doesn't feel worthy of. He tells Sue Storm that he's failing his own creation, that he can't properly inspire his people. That doesn't sound like a man who wants to rule everything. That sounds like a man who picked up a burden no one else was strong enough to carry. Section 3. Why Thor's speech is the key. Let's come back to the trailer, because after Doom's opening line, the rest of it belongs to Thor. And Thor's speech is extraordinary if you really sit with it.
They were far stronger than all of us put together, and they died. They died facing enemies and threats that scared me far less than this one.
Stop. Read that again. Thor has seen Hela obliterate Asgard. He's seen Thanos disassemble the universe with a snap. He went through the darkest version of grief and failure a character in this franchise has ever experienced. And he's saying, clearly, directly, that what's coming now scares him more. But here's the detail that almost everyone has glossed over. Thor says, the previous warriors died facing enemies and threats that scared me far less than this one. He's not just saying Doom is stronger than Thanos. He's saying the context is different. The scale is different. The existential stakes are different. And if we map that onto the comic version of events, where the threat isn't just one villain, but the literal death of the multiverse, suddenly Thor's speech isn't about Doom's power level. It's about what Doom may have already survived to get here. What if this version of Doom has already watched his universe die? What if the MCU's Doctor Doom isn't someone who wants to destroy reality, but someone who has already lost a reality and is determined by any means necessary not to lose another? That's a completely different character than Thanos. Thanos believed the universe had too many people. He was solving a math problem with genocide. But Doom, if the comics are any guide, Doom believes the universe doesn't have enough time left, and he may be the only one willing to make the decision nobody else will make to save it. Section 4, the accent, the mask, the method. Here's something that seems small but isn't. Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom sounds nothing like Tony Stark. The accent, the cadence, the weight behind every syllable. People have been debating it online since the trailer dropped, but I think the discourse is missing the point. The debate isn't about whether the accent is good or bad. The point is that Marvel is deliberately separating these two characters in every way possible, because they know the hardest thing they have to do is make you forget Tony Stark. And the way you do that isn't just with a mask, it's with a philosophy. Tony Stark's defining line is, "I am Iron Man." 4 words of pure ego, triumphant, personal, mine. Doom opens this trailer by saying, something we may not be able to deter. He erases himself from the sentence. He's not making it about him. That inversion is intentional. And then there's the mask itself. According to early reporting on the film, the MCU heroes never see what's under it. The audience will catch a glimpse, but Doom's enemies? Never. They only ever know the mask. In the comics, the mask is everything. Doom wears it because of a scar, but the deeper truth is that the mask is what makes him Doom. It separates the man from the mission, it removes vanity from the equation. When Doom acts, he acts as Doom, not as Victor, not as the frightened kid from Latveria who lost everything. That's not how villains dress. That's how someone dresses who has decided they can no longer afford to be a person. Section 5. The Avengers don't understand what they're facing now. Look at how everyone else in this trailer is behaving. Gambit and Shang-Chi are trading blows. Yelena Belova is fighting Mystique. Heroes from 3 universes are eyeing each other with deep suspicion. There are fistfights. There are force fields going up. There is chaos. And in the middle of all of that, Thor is trying to rally people with the most defeated pep talk in Avengers history, basically saying, look, we're probably going to die, but can we at least die together? It's chaos. And it's exactly the kind of chaos that, in the comics, Doom would consider inexcusable, because Dr. Doom's philosophy in the comics isn't destroy everything. It's, you people are so good at making things worse, and someone has to step in before you finish the job. His contempt for Reed Richards isn't just personal rivalry, it's ideological. Doom genuinely believes, sincerely believes, that he could have saved the world better, smarter, with less collateral damage, if he'd just been allowed to handle it. And in Secret Wars, he's not entirely wrong. The Illuminati made decision after catastrophic decision trying to stop the incursions. Tony Stark built Ultron, the Avengers fractured, and in the end, it still fell apart. Doom built Battleworld. He preserved something. So when you watch this trailer, heroes bickering, villains emerging, alliances fracturing across 3 universes. What if that's exactly what Doom is watching? And what if his unthinkable decision is the same one he made in the comics? What if he's about to save a universe, whether it wants saving or not? Section 6. the Stormbreaker moment and what it means. Let's come back to that shot. Thor. Stormbreaker, 2 fingers. Everyone has focused on what it tells us about Doom's power level. And yes, stopping an axe that cut through the combined force of all 6 Infinity Stones is staggering. But watch the moment more carefully. Thor is the one who leaps. Thor is the one attacking. Doom stops him. He doesn't lunge, he doesn't hunt, he doesn't pursue. He waits, he deflects, he holds. That's not a conqueror's body language, that's a strategist. That's someone who has seen this scenario play out before and already knows exactly where it ends. Joe Russo said it himself from the CinemaCon stage. He's not simply a villain, he's one of the most complex Marvel characters. He's always 3 moves ahead, 3 moves ahead. In chess, you play 3 moves ahead when you're managing something, containing it, guiding it toward a predetermined outcome. Doom isn't reacting to the Avengers, he's guiding them somewhere. Section 7. Why this makes him more dangerous than Thanos. This is the question that should be keeping everyone up at night. Thanos was difficult to fight because of his power. 6 Infinity Stones, near omnipotence, a fully loaded gauntlet. Dr. Doom may be difficult to fight because of his argument. What happens when the heroes finally hear what Doom is actually saying? When they understand not just his power, but his reasoning? What happens if, even for a moment, someone like Reed Richards or Steve Rogers or Thor looks at the evidence and thinks, is he right? That's an infinitely more dangerous villain than one you just need to outpunch, because you can't punch a philosophy. And if Doom's version of events is that the multiverse is dying, that incursions are inevitable, and that the only way to preserve anything is to do the one unthinkable thing nobody else has the stomach to do, then this movie isn't really about stopping Dr. Doom, it might be about deciding whether Dr. Doom is wrong. Ending. If Marvel is really doing what this trailer seems to suggest, then Avengers. Doomsday may not be the story of heroes stopping a villain. It may be the story of heroes confronting a man who genuinely believes he's the only sane person in a burning building, and deciding whether that belief justifies what he's willing to do. Doom will almost certainly become the villain. The methods will be catastrophic. The cost will be enormous. That part isn't in question, but the tragedy? The tragedy is that he might not be entirely wrong about what's coming. And honestly, that's a far more interesting story than anything we've seen in this franchise for a long time. If you think this interpretation falls apart, if there's something in that trailer I'm reading wrong, tell me where. I'd genuinely love to hear another take.